Live from the J.C. Newman Cigar Studios in the great state of New Hampshire and the Gurkha Cigar Studios in fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. Welcome to the Smokin Tabacco Show with your hosts, Matt Tobacco and Kevin Acuff.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Smokin Tabacco Show. My name is Matt Tobacco from SmokinTobacco.com. I am live in the J.C. Newman Cigar Studios in the granite state, the great state of New Hampshire. The Shire, as some of us call it. God's country. Yeah, that's right, God's country. But also, deep down in the great southwest in the Mojave Desert, in the land of the sand and sun. That's right, it's not Daytona Beach. It's Las Vegas, Nevada. Kevin Acuff in the Gurkha Cigar Studios. Kevin, so we were supposed to have Bobby Newman on with us tonight, but he had to reschedule due to some personal scheduling stuff, which is fine. It's a holiday week. I assume he's probably traveling. But that's all right. So we're going to hang out tonight, but we have some pretty hot and heavy stuff to talk about because arguably the biggest story of the entire year in the cigar industry unfolded yesterday. And you heard it at Smokin Tabacco first. That's right. You heard it here first. We broke this story early yesterday morning, and we're going to get into it in a minute. But Kevin, how are you? How's it going, man?
Oh, I'm trying not to ignite into a fireball.
Well, that happens. I know exactly how you feel.
It was 123 degrees in my Jeep when I got in at leaving work this afternoon.
How hot was it?
123.
Fuck. That's hot.
Exactly.
That's hot.
It's like you can't touch the steering wheel, you can't touch anything. I put the sunshade in and it was still freaking like ungodly hot.
Well, I've had family who lived in Las Vegas, and I remember they used to tell, like, relatives when they would come to visit, like, you had to keep gloves in the car because in the summertime it was so hot you couldn't hold on to the steering wheel, so you had to have a pair of gloves to be able to hold the steering wheel. Which I have personally driven in the summer in Las Vegas many a times, and I know that's true. I know it's not an exaggeration. So I'm going to stand behind you on this one, Kevin, and I'm not calling bullshit. It is that bad. It's like driving around in a crematorium. It's like Satan's ass, It's just like it's fucking hot, man.
At least it's not humid. If it was like 100 degrees in Miami, you go sit on the toilet seat, you'd freaking hydroplane off of it from freaking ass sweat.
Swamp ass.
It's just ridiculous.
No, it is.
So it's like we don't have that, but regardless, we're loading up the Jeep first thing in the morning and heading to the mountains where it's about 25 degrees cooler.
That's the one good thing about where you guys live is you can always go up to the mountains and like you can drop some of that heat because you can go up in the elevation, which
It'll
is nice.
still be in the 80s up there, but
it's better than 100.
Better than hundreds.
Yeah. Now, anybody who knows me, I've been to Vegas a lot. I got friends, obviously, people who I love that live there. I keep tabs on the city. I follow local news there as I do here at home. So I happened to notice the other day something came up on one of the, I think, because I follow like the Las Vegas Review Journal and all of those publications. And I think it was Las Vegas Review Journal. I think they posted, is it Monday is supposed to be the hottest day on record in Vegas history. I believe that's
what I've heard.
I have read that headline and I went,
they're calling like 117 or 118 or something like that, which
that's BS. It was hotter than that on my wedding day. It was 120 on my wedding day.
I've seen 117 here.
Remember the day
hottest I've ever been.
You remember the day of my wedding? It was like 120. It
was like 112.
No, it was really. I thought it was like 120.
No, 120 is like an anomaly here. It gets ridiculously hot, but at least this year, the one good thing this year from the heat is, it was about 5-6 years ago. I mean, the 100 started like early May and just it was unrelenting until the end of summer.
Yeah.
So at least it waited until the end of June before it got hot, but now it's still hot.
Look at that. Mitchell Santaga's with us tonight. We missed him. We miss him very much. He's
And his country still does not have a Stanley Cup.
yeah, that's right. His country still doesn't have a Stanley Cup.
I had to take a shot, Mitch. I'm sorry.
Hey, that's what
love
they
you,
get,
buddy.
man. Out for tacos with my daughter right now. That's awesome. I like that. That's a good time.
They do have. I will say that he brought a bottle of maple syrup down when he came for PCA, and that is probably the absolute best bottle of maple syrup I've ever tasted in my life.
Dude, I would hope so. I mean, if it came from Canada, I mean, come on. I mean,
Holy
it better
shit, is
be.
it good.
That's what they're known for.
It is super good.
That
But no, I
good-
thought
hey,
when you're talking about Review Journal that you were going to bust on our hockey team having a mass exodus of players.
well, I've seen that too. I saw that too. I know you guys traded away one of your goaltenders.
I mean,
I
we
know a
got rid
couple
of
other people are
Logan
out.
Thompson and Jonathan Marchessault, Chandler Stevenson, Will Carrier, Alex
Yikes.
Martinez.
Alex
I mean,
Martinez.
it's like,
We know an Alex Martinez.
yeah, he's gone. Yep, he's gone. Not
Yeah.
the same guy.
Fucking who is it that you guys have that is pretty good? Jack, is it Eichel? Is it Jack Eichel?
Yep.
It's pretty good.
I mean, he's the future of the franchise.
yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, he stepped up. I was super worried, like when they made that deal for him, and he had to have the neck surgery and whatnot. It was questionable whether he was going to be able to come back and be at 100%. I still don't think he's there yet, but just to watch him on the ice, it's insane. I mean, he's one of those superstar hockey players that can take the puck and go and do whatever the hell he wants with it when he wants to go, and it's awesome. So, as sad as it is to see these guys go, I mean, Marchie was one of the original misfits. So I think now we're down to one. I think we have William Karlsson. I think he's the last one.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I have a lot
So
of
we'll
faith in that
see.
franchise. They've been pretty successful thus far. They got a Stanley Cup. They've been in the playoffs most, if not every year since they expanded.
4 out of 6 years.
That's pretty good. And one of those was a Stanley Cup. So I mean that's pretty good. I think they got some shit going on over there. We'll see. We'll see. But
They did so well. They changed the draft rules for expansion teams because of it. So
well, they got Mike over here who's a Blackhawks fan and up in Chicago, and the Blackhawks, they got Bertuzzi. They took Pat Maroon away from us. I think they got a couple other guys too. Blackhawks, I don't know. Blackhawks might be a team to watch this year. Up in Chicago.
they've been rebuilding for a while, so they're overdue for sure.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Chicago might put a good team on the ice this year. Yeah, they did. They got a lot of free agents, so I don't know. Chicago might have a nice team on the ice this year. It'll be interesting to see. Hey, so let's talk about what we're smoking and whatnot tonight. Before we go too far into the show, our cigars are once again brought to you by the number2guyscigars.com. That's right, the number2guyscigars.com. Head over there today for an amazing selection of fantastic premium handmade cigars, as well as some fantastic cigar accessories. They got all the big name brands. They got all the brands you know and love. Maybe they have some stuff that you haven't quite discovered yet. Try something new. Try something different. Only at the number2guyscigars.com. Kevin, I'm going to let you go first before I kind of get into my monologue with what I got going on here, because it's going to be a segue. Hello, Barbara. It's nice to see you, sweetie. Thank you for being here. Kevin, what do you got?
What do I got? So what I have is something that you probably aren't going to find at Two Guys.
Okay.
Because it's a little bit old.
Ooh.
So I am actually, because in honor of tomorrow being Independence Day and America and celebration and whatnot,
America.
I am smoking one of the limited edition Camacho Liberties
Oh, damn, that's old.
from 2016.
Wow.
So I have every year from 2006 on. But I only have like a couple of the really old ones. I just have like a couple left, and it's like these. I had several, so I decided, you know what, I'm going to dig into this and celebrate a little bit today.
I have a cigar that the brand is available, as is so Camachos are available at the number2guyscigars.com, as well as this brand that I'm smoking. This particular cigar was from 2021, so these particular ones are not available anymore. But the brand is all day, every day. They got all of it. So we're gonna get more into this in a minute, but very interesting week. Very interesting week. If you don't know, the great Jonathan
Wait,
M.
wait, wait,
Carney.
wait, wait. Time out. You didn't say what you were smoking.
I know. I gotta
Oh,
say
okay.
this first, and
Yeah,
then
so there's a build up.
there's a
Okay.
build up. There's a build. This is a
Okay.
moment.
Okay.
Yeah. So the great Jonathan M. Carney, Vice President of Sales of La Flor Dominicana, is no longer. Jonathan Carney left La Flor Dominicana, or they parted ways, I think is the way it was said. But regardless, they pretty synonymous with that company. And I think anybody who knows John, like, it's John Carney LFD. There's no other brand that comes to mind. There's nobody else that comes to mind. It's John Carney and Lito Gomez. I mean, it's, you know,
Hmm.
it's that's there's just nothing else. So we're gonna get into that in a second, but in honor of them and the Gomez's and John and his time there, I grabbed one of my favorite cigars that I'm almost running out of now. This is the LFD TAA blend, the Chisel from 2021, and the Natural,
Ooh.
the Golden that I'm smoking tonight. Thinking about John and thinking about LFD and how special those years were, and it's weird, man. It's crazy. So I grabbed this, and like I said, 2guyscigars.com, they carry LFD. They got almost all the products that they carry. So head over there today, check them out, get some LFD, get some Camacho, maybe try something new, try something different. They got some great stuff that's always popping up there. It's always an adventure. So order some cigars today and have some fun. Now, of course, we're always cutting and lighting our cigars with ST Dupont products because they're the best and we trust no one else. So I'm using my fantastic Maxi Jet from the Fluo collection, flat black. It's awesome. It's cool. It's kind of tactical, but it's sexy at the same time. And then it's got this bright orange igniter button on the side, or the trigger as I like to call it, because I think it sounds better. Kevin has one as well. These are brand new. This particular design scheme is brand new, and it's available in multiple pieces in the ST Dupont Cigar Accessories collection. So head over there today and check it out. It's pretty badass. Pretty badass. ST Dupont.
I like that.
Shake up
It's
the legacy.
tactical sexy. I like that.
It's tactical sexy. You know, if Les Mann watches the show from time to time. If he was here, he'd be all over. He'd be like, yes. He'd be yelling at the screen. I love that. I'm bringing that up. He would be all about. I gotta text that to him now. Hey Siri, text Les Mann.
What do you want to say to Les?
Hey, just got an idea. The Fluo collection. Yeah. Tactical sexy. That's what I'm going with. Yeah, he'll like that. He'll like that. He'll text me back, be all excited. So, shout out to ST Dupont. Love having them here. Shake up the legacy, and get yourself some good cutters and lighters. So yeah, let's get back to tactical.
We gotta get one disclaimer. Tactical sexy, copyrighted by SmokinTabacco.com.
That's right. We own that. It's copyrighted. That's ours now. We own it. It was our idea. Everyone was here. They heard it. Although I know Les is going to start using it. I just can't wait until I see like Les like with a customer, like doing an interview talking about the Flor collection, but like it's flat black, it's tactical sexy, you know what I mean? It's tactical, but it's simple.
It's just a cool freaking lighter.
Oh, here we go. That was
It
fast.
really is.
That was fast. Fluo, cool. I'm surprised he didn't get more excited about that. I'm not gonna lie. He wasn't as excited as I thought he would be. Wow, Les, you let me down, buddy. Come on, you're better than that. You usually jump for joy with ideas. Maybe he didn't like the idea. I don't know. I fucked that one up. Let's move on. Yeah, Jonathan Carney. What can I say? It's weird, man. I sat there, I spoke to John, the day before. That's when I found out, and I said, oh, okay. I had to put a story together. Was the first thing that came to mind. I'll be honest, a little selfish, but the second thing was, just thinking back over the years, like all the fun we've had, like doing events, and just thinking about all his time and how synonymous that is. And I'm sitting there at my laptop, and I've written a lot of stories over the years. I've put a lot of stories out, a lot of staff stuff. And I was sitting in front of my computer writing this story, and I typed in the headline, Jonathan Carney, La Flor Dominicana part ways. And I had to stop and look at it and be like, fuck, it's weird to read that, because it's weird. He's one of those people that's been so synonymous with that brand. It's almost like he's part of the Gomez family. I think there's a lot of people. I think most people, I think, were shocked when they saw that news story, and I think that a lot of people thought, hey, he would never leave. He's been with the company since, well, he first joined La Flor Dominicana at the age of 27 in 2011, and he was a sales rep, and only 2 years later, at the age of 29, a very young age, he became vice president of sales, and that's a title he held until Monday, when his employment there officially ended. Yeah, it's weird, man. It's weird to see. Like, I read that 10 times. It was just like Jonathan Carney, La Flor Dominicana, part ways. It was like, wow, that's crazy. And
what makes it even weirder is, not only is he no longer with La Flor Dominicana, he's no longer with the industry.
Well, that too, Kevin. Thank you. That's a good point.
So that's a lot of times when a key player in a company leaves, more often than not, they land within another company within the industry in a similar or elevated position from where they were at, and he's no longer a part of the industry, which makes it even weirder.
Yeah, look, I'll be honest with you. I have a personal relationship with John, and I had a business relationship with John. But as on a personal level, I like to keep a lot of my my personal memories and stuff with him. It's kind of privately. Look, when you're so public all the time, there's a lot there's a lot we share. There's also a lot of stuff you like to keep to yourself too. And but one of the things I will say, and by that I just mean, we've had a lot of great conversations over the years, right? As friends, and I'll kind of say this, of course, over the years I've asked him, a question that is, anyone could ask anyone else this question, like, hey, if you had to work anywhere else, where would it be? And John never really had an answer for me. It was always kind of like, nah, man, it's LFD, man. That's where I'm at. And he couldn't give me I'd go work for, Fuente, or I'd go work. No, he's like, nah, man, I'll be honest with you. It's kind of like if he had said to me years ago, if I didn't work for LFD, I wouldn't work in the business. So, I wasn't really surprised when he did say hey, so I'm no longer, I no longer work for La Flor Dominicana, and I'm leaving the cigar business. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah. I kind of figured. So I know he has a lot of projects and kind of some stuff he likes to do, he wants to do, and I know he's not ready to talk about them, Um, but um, but I know he got some stuff he wants to do. He wants to spend some time with his family, and which is totally understandable. A guy like that, I mean, he's spent most of his career on the road, away from his family and traveling, and he also just started a family, so I get it. He wants to have some downtime right now, and he's got some cool stuff he's gonna do in the future, and just really excited for him, honestly. Like both obviously personally and but professionally. He's a very smart guy. He's very good at what he does, and anything he does, he's gonna be successful at. But it's weird, man. You know what I mean? It's weird. It's
Yeah, he's definitely a doer, though. I mean, he's a guy that just he's going to set the goal and go out and not only achieve it, he's going to blow it away and set the next goal and go out and blow that one away and on and on and on. I mean, that's just I don't know him that well, but the few times that I've met him and what I know of him, that's the way the guy is. I mean, he just he's not the guy that sit idly by and watch life and everything passing by. He's rolling his sleeves up out there, getting dirty, and doing what he's got to do to make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, I got to give him a lot of credit. When it comes to his time with the Flor, I mean, he was on top of a lot of stuff over the years, and most recently, one of the big things, he was really involved in the NFT project, and you know, really helped the family with that, and he's done other product launches over the years. He was a member of the TAA. He sat on the board at the TAA. He was always involved with Pro Cigar every year. He was just very active. He was all over the place. It wasn't like he was just like, well, I just make my phone calls and I sell the cigars and like that's it. Like, not that I'm saying that that's a bad thing for anyone who might be like that. But no, John really, he put himself out there, and and he gave everything he had. So and you're right, that's the way he is. So I no doubt he's gonna do great things in this world. But
He's going to be massively successful no matter what he does.
mm-hmm,
On a little bit lighter note on the thing, the cigar industry is definitely going to lose a significant impact on the foodie side of the industry.
dude,
Because Carney definitely was the foodie. I mean, when you would see some of the spreads to like, holy shit, bro! It's like, I want to be you.
that kid can eat. Let me tell you. That's all I have to say to that. Without like just really getting too deep into it, he can eat. Not only can he eat, but he knows how to eat, and he knows how to eat good.
That's the key. He knows how to. He can eat, but not only can he eat, he knows how to eat. I mean, he does it right. He knows how to put on a spread for sure.
He like this. There's been times over the years where he's like introduced me to like whether it's a cooking technique or like just a type of food or like a dish or like just like an ingredient like or a garnish like with like and I'm like what and I'm like dude and I'm like and he's just like where does he come up with all these ideas? But he does, man. He does. I mean, he knows, you know, he knows the cigar business. He knows how to cook. He knows how to do food. He's one of those guys. It doesn't matter what he does. He finds a way to master it. And it's true when it comes to food, man. Honestly, I think food is. I honestly I think he'd be great in the food industry. Whether it was running a restaurant or whatever. But I don't think he wants to, and I don't blame him because I think it's definitely more of a passion for him, and I think it's a passion that he doesn't want to make a job and not love it. I think he likes it being just like a hobby and as like a personal thing. Because I tell you, man, he does have a passion for it, and you can tell he loves it. It's not just about eating; it's creating stuff and finding new things and experimenting, and he does a great job with that. A lot of what I know in the kitchen I learned from John. He's not the only person, but a lot of what I know, especially recently, a lot of the tricks I've learned from John. So, gotta give him credit there too. So, yeah, big news story. You've seen us on the Spare Note show, the last few episodes. It's been a little quieter. There hasn't been. I mean, Kevin, we've talked about this. It hasn't really been that busy of a news year since the trade show. I mean, it's been quiet.
Yeah, there
So
hasn't been literally anything up until yesterday.
yeah,
And then all of a sudden, it's like you have no news, and then you have like industry shattering news.
I'll
So,
I'll tell you. I went on the website and I started looking at like the numbers, and it'll keep going as the days goes on. It's the number one article on the website already.
oh, sure.
By far, by far. It wow, that story got shared hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. Um, it's just it's crazy. I think part of it too is so many people were just so shocked that it was just like, oh my god. But yeah, man, it's so LFD, as a company, they move on and they continue to move forward, and I don't think there's been an official word on a replacement for John, or who fills who fills those Crocs next. That's what I'm gonna say. Who fills those Crocs at LFD? So,
Yeah,
no,
those are big shoes to fill for sure.
they are. They're very big. They're very big. They're you know they're gonna be hard to fill. But yeah. So no official word on that, and LFD released a statement. It's on. So if you look at the article on SmokinTabacco.com, that it's in there that Inez and Lito Gomez they released a statement, saying that they've parted ways, and they appreciate all his time and everything he's done for them over the years, and so it's on there. You can read it. If you go to SmokinTabacco.com, you can read the whole story and kind of John's statement and comments and all that stuff. So yeah, it's the end of an era. It's the end of an era. To wrap up that conversation, it's the end of an era. So we'll see. We'll see what happens next for La Flor Dominicana. It'll be interesting. There's been a lot of staff changes this year, though. Have you noticed that? A lot of, especially like upper people. Like Dylan Austin and Davidoff parted ways. That was a big one too. John Carney and LFD parted ways. There was a few others too. There was a couple of other like sales managers or directors or whatever that left for other companies. I think El Septimo took a couple more, poached a few more people this year.
Jonathan Lipson is no longer with Forged.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, there's been some moving around. I think a lot of companies right now are either people are making changes or companies are making changes. It's kind of like a mix of both, situational basis. I mean, look, you had the pandemic, right? And that kind of just rocked everybody, and I think everyone just sheltered in place. If that makes sense, they just kind of would not really worrying about a lot of these other things, and just kind of like, how do we just get through business, for the next year or whatever, few years. And then there was a boom that happened, as just a lot of cigars being sold, just a lot of crazy activity. And then it's kind of leveled back off again now in the last year. Now that that's kind of over. And I think now that manufacturers have, gotten through the pandemic, they got through the high point of this recent cigar boom, and things are kind of leveling off. I think people are looking at all right, now it's time to maybe think about making a move, or a company wants to make a move, or whether it's personnel or just other things they're doing or whatever. I think now it's just one of those times. It's I think everyone's kind of thinking about what can I change. So I think you're going to see more of it. That's my prediction. I think we're going to see a lot more staff changes and maybe some other just company moves that people do, the things that they change, and the people they work with, and whatever. Because I think now people have kind of the time to explore those changes, and it's one of those points too where it's kind of quiet and slow. So people have nothing else to do. Let me. I just saw your message. Did we lose the Facebook feed? No.
Yeah, it's
way.
like I'm looking at it and it says we were live.
Oh shit, that's strange. I'm still live up here. Huh.
I know Barbara texted me and said that she keeps bouncing back and forth between Facebook Live and YouTube, and she says it's losing it on both of them.
Really? That is very peculiar. 'Cause I
Now it's
don't.
interesting. So I have one post that says, so I see two posts. I see one post that says we were live, and I see another post that says we are live.
Huh. I didn't notice any interruption on my end. That is very strange.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's very strange.
Smokin Tobacco was live, and
I see
Smokin
that.
Tobacco is live now.
Oh shit, there was several of them.
Yeah, there's like if you scroll through, there's like 4 or 5. That's weird.
That's very weird. I don't even see anything on my end either. I don't see it. Did normally,
Yes,
like,
I
if we
see
have
1,
something, it'll
2,
say, "Oh, you lost the
3,
feed," or I still got
5,
the same. I got the same.
6. I see 6 was live and 1 is live now, which would explain how come that, like, looking at the numbers here, I'm not seeing viewers.
Yeah,
I
that
keep
does make a lot of
everybody up.
sense.
So sorry, guys. Apparently, we're having technical difficulties. I don't know if it's on our end, if something from our feed, or if it's the wonderful people at Facebook.
If it's on YouTube too, then it's got to be on our end. That's the only thing I can think of. If YouTube's doing it too, let me see. Do I have like a lot of 13 minutes ago, 24 minutes ago? Yeah, there's a bunch of them on fucking YouTube too. It's got to be on our end. Nothing popped up here. That's very strange. I do apologize for that. I don't know. That hasn't happened in a long time. Okay. Well, I have an idea of what it is.
I was going to say if it was out here, it's the equipment's probably overheating, but I don't have an excuse for.
No, because it
East
hosts
Coast.
it hosts on my end, so it wouldn't be your fault. Do you remember that thing we talked about before the show about the streaming? I wonder if that has
Yeah.
something to do with it. I wonder,
It very well could.
which is interesting, and if that is the case, then we'll have to kind of go back for now. But I don't know why we wouldn't be able to. That is very, very weird. I'm gonna have to investigate that tomorrow, because yeah, we can't do that. That's messed up. So, yeah, I'm sorry about that, guys. So, I mean, right now we have a constant record. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm just gonna keep. We're not gonna be on super late tonight, so I'm gonna kind of keep going, and then after the show, I will remove all of those and I'll re-upload one solid video from the record, and then it'll be on there. I apologize. The only reason why is because I could stop and start again and keep going. At this point, I'd rather just keep going, finish, and then give you guys one solid video to just watch instead of just having a bunch of pieces up there. So, on my end, it's still recording one solid piece. So we're gonna finish that, and then I'll just upload it so that you guys all can have it. So, I apologize.
There you go.
I apologize for that. But Kevin, thanks for letting me know. So anyway, kind of back to what we were talking about. Yeah, I think the industry. And I don't know, Kevin, if you have an opinion on this or if you've kind of maybe noticed this too. But yeah, I feel like right now it's like we got through the pandemic, we got through the boom, and like now I think a lot of manufacturers have kind of like the dust has settled a little bit because the last couple of years have been kind of crazy. And I think now, whether it's staff themselves or the companies or whatever, a mix of the two, I think everyone's kind of stopping to be like, all right, so like where are we right now? And what changes like do I want to make or do we want to make? So I think over the next year, my prediction, I think you'll see a lot more changes. I don't know if you noticed that. I don't know if you see it that way. I have this feeling.
Yeah, it's like one of the things I was going to say is, I mean, so you look at the COVID year, the kind of the middle of that was kind of nuts, and then sales kind of went through the roof, and then
Yeah,
I think you had a couple years trailing where it was maybe disproportionate to what a normal year would be because of the demand that was created by the COVID year. And I think just because of COVID and the way that companies saw different ways to run operations and different ways to do that and different ways to do this, I I'm fairly confident that COVID has changed the way a lot of these companies will do business. Now,
Yes.
obviously it didn't have an effect on the grow and tobacco production and that kind of thing. But as far as like the marketing and sales side, and even the manufacturing side, I think there was a lot has changed from 2019 till today, with the COVID year being the issue there. So I think it's right now. I think you're seeing almost like a rebuilding phase, because you're seeing business get back to what it normally would have been versus the increased demand. So it'll be interesting to see what happens moving forward.
Yeah. No,
I don't
I
know.
agree.
Carney parting ways with LFD. I've got a feeling that's probably not the last you're going to see this year of a major player leaving an organization. I just think that
Yeah.
just the stuff restructures and stuff rebuilds, you're going to see some more changes. You're going to see some key people make changes, maybe even leave the industry. And I think maybe in another year or two it'll reset and it'll be back on a normal path of what it would have been had COVID not ever happened. That's kind of how I see it.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm with you almost 100% there. I mean, it's it's something that it's normal. It's part of doing business, and then whether it's on the company end or you know it could be a business thing or it just could be a personal thing. For someone, maybe if they choose to leave or they want to leave the industry, or maybe they want to go work for a different company for whatever reason. There's a lot of things that it could be, and it's definitely that time, especially where we had a trade show in July that people they got to get ready for, and then the show gets moved to early spring. So then they had a short turnaround time to get their companies ready. So now they don't have a trade show for a year and a month. So the rest of this year, they're already done with that. They got to get their products out, and then it's business as usual, right? So there's always stuff to do, but I feel like a lot of companies right now, they don't have as much under the gun stuff because the trade show's already over and they've already taken orders. Now it's just making sure they can fulfill those and get those products out. But outside of that, they get that done and they can handle that, or it's whatever.
Yeah, the thing there too is it's not the time to sit back and you know relax. You need to operate as if you still had the demand for a trade show that literally is going to happen in a week and a half. The operations need to continue
Oh,
the way they
true.
would have if the trade show is still in July, and that's one thing that don't want to see is the companies change operations based on that. It's like you still got to keep pressing forward and keep plodding along as if nothing's changed, even though it did. So there's definitely going to be an adjustment. I also think that being said, I think you're going to see a few newcomers emerge
That's
over the
also
next
true.
year because, like I said, I think you're in a reset right now for the industry, and I think if you're looking to get in, now it's probably a pretty good time to do it.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. That's a very good point. Yeah, I mean, you can see some new, you see some new faces, and which is cool. New people. I mean, looking back the last,
Expansion is a good thing.
yeah, like I said, I think a lot of people are starting to stop and think about a lot of different elements, and I know there's like we've seen some people change the factories they're producing at. We've seen people change their distributors, like multiple. Like one here and there is like one thing, but we've seen multiple companies change distributors. We've seen multiple companies change their factories. We've seen multiple companies, you know, go through significant staff changes. We've seen companies go through, severe SKU cutting and just redevelopment of their whole brand and their whole line and rebrand and just a lot of like big substantial changes, because I think you're right. I think
Yeah,
people, it's resetting and people are
yeah,
turning things
that's why I
around.
said what I said.
Yeah.
And I mean the FDA and Judge Mehta's rulings that kind of lead also in the industry's favor. I think that's going to have that's had a significant impact on what's going on now as well, because
That's
you
another
know
good
the
point.
the companies were prepared for the worst, and now all of a sudden that's changed. I mean, I think there's still battles to come, but
True.
the doom and gloom that everybody was prepared for, that's not going to happen, at least not in the immediate future. So now you can resume business as usual as far as that goes as well. So
I think a lot of people were preparing for substantial equivalence and all that nonsense, and now that's all gone. It's like, oh well, we don't have to deal with that, at least for now. For the time being, unless which again, like you mentioned, that FDA thing. I mean, that's not just over. Um, they had a very good win, but that doesn't mean that it's just like
no, they're not going to
until the
give
end.
up.
It's not. That doesn't mean until the end of time. It's just going to be, you know, sailing off into the sunset for everyone and having a great time. I mean, they're still going to try to attack, but at the end of the day, um, for right
There was
now,
still a lot of positive that came from that. So
yeah,
and
hundred
that was
percent,
definitely a breath of fresh air for the industry, and allowed especially the smaller companies, you know allows them to rest easy, and now you can kind of resume production and start developing your companies that were kind of put on hold until you knew what the hell was going to happen. Because the last thing you wanted to do is, as a younger company or a smaller company industry, if the substantial equivalence was going to be a thing, spend all this money and whatnot developing blends and developing your company and whatnot, all to have it just squashed and taken away because you don't have the funds to meet the substantial equivalence. So now you have the ability to bring those products to market that you may not have been able to do. So that again falls into the thing of reset. Wasn't really there, and I think that's almost kind of why we're kind of in the doldrums as far as new releases and what we're seeing. I mean, there wasn't as much at PCA, I think, as you would normally see, and I
right.
think a lot of it has to do with that as well. So
I think it's safe to say that because of all this, by next year, definitely by 2026, I think a lot of people have made all sorts of changes, and I think between 25 and 26, I think it could be a very interesting time in terms of what companies start to roll out next, because of other changes that impact the products they're currently working on that are coming down the pipeline and stuff like that. And so yeah, I think for the next two trade shows it'll be interesting. It's going to be interesting either way because of New Orleans and that
the,
whole
the
thing.
move, yeah,
That in itself
I
is
think I think the move is. I mean, that's going to be talk of itself. But I think, I mean, just my opinion, just based on what I'm seeing and the way that things have gone, I think you're going to see significantly more new releases and almost new releases and Showtime releases, almost back to what we've come to expect from the industry, almost back to normal, and in NOLA in 25. I think you'll see more Showtime related releases than you did this year in Vegas. I think. I mean, that's just my opinion and my speculation, but I could be wrong. But that's what I expect.
no. I think you're right with that. I think you're spot on. I I think that aspect of it for these next few shows is very true. I also think outside of that, I think the shows themselves are going to be very telling. I know that from what I hear, the rumblings, you know, they're starting to they're working on the New Orleans shows, and as far as I know, they still haven't solved their after hours smoking stuff, which I think
Mm-hmm.
if they don't, that could affect attendance too, because people are not going to want to come down to the show just to walk the
And
floor
not
and
be able,
then do
yeah,
nothing
not be able to
else.
smoke.
I
Yeah,
mean, going to a trade show is not just on the floor. You go, for a lot of people, it's the entire experience of everything you do there. It's not just the show floor. People don't just go all that way just to walk the floor and then just go to bed and be done. Like they want the experience. Everyone's in the town together and everyone's there and everyone want to get together and socialize and catch up. A lot of times, the show for a lot of us, it's the only time everyone and anyone's all together where you can connect with everyone. So if there's no social aspect to that, it's gonna
It'll kill it
it will that will
for
affect
sure.
attendance, which is again, and that's a domino effect of several other things that could follow. So I don't know. We'll see. We will see.
We can have a busy backyard at the Airbnb.
Yeah, yeah. And I think you're gonna see a lot of that. I think you're gonna see a lot of people,
Yeah, I think you are too.
Airbnbs, houses, doing a lot of private stuff. Because that's really the only other option. So, which that doesn't mean it makes it okay, because I think people still want groups to. I mean, you can only have so many people, and there's only so much you can do. But
There is a flip side to it, though. There is a flip side to it,
what's
and
that?
in lieu of the after hours to be able to smoke, the food.
Yeah, if you like
I
food.
mean, like I foresee eating myself to about 300 pounds of like overindulgence while I'm down there. So the may not have time to smoke because I'm going to be stuffing my face with all the amazing food down there,
Jonathan M.
and
Carney.
then I'll be in.
Next week, let's go. I think John Carney. I don't know. John Carney might be on the show next week. I don't know. It would be nice. We got to get him on. He has to show his face. He's a free agent now. Well, technically, he's not a free agent. He's retired. He's retired from the league. So it's he's not active. He's got to be out for 5 years though before we can put him in the Hall of Fame. It's standard rules. You can't.
Damn,
gotta
I want
be
to
out.
be retired. Not from the cigar industry, but I want to be retired.
From the electric sign business.
Exactly.
I don't blame you. I would too. I have a long way to go myself, but someday I have. What do I have? I have 27 and a half years to go. That's what I have. I have
John's
27 and a half
asking
years
if
to
we
go.
need him to jump on.
Do we need him to jump on? Wait, did he ask that?
Yeah,
Oh,
he asked that
is he
in
here?
the comments.
Is he
He
here?
said he's in the comments.
I'd love for him to
week
come
it's
on.
only-
And
well,
he says next week.
Next week it's only day 2, but he asked, "Do you need me to jump on?"
I mean, I don't know if he means like to jump on next week. Obviously, yes, next week. If he wants to jump on now, I mean, yeah. But he's right. It is only day 2, so I don't want him to feel forced. If he wants to, he can text me. I'll give him the link. I'd love to see his face. I haven't seen his face since all this happened. I mean, I've talked to him, but I haven't seen his face. Send me a link.
He
Oh,
said
he's gonna
send him a
come on. He's gonna come on. Yeah, I'm excited. See, I knew he couldn't stay away. He misses us. He wants to see us. He wants to see us. The only problem is we keep going in and out with these feeds, but at least it'll all be recorded in one piece, and I can upload this after. So
If he jumps on and he has a tomahawk, I'm out. I'll just be out.
do you
Be
need to
so
like?
jealous that I can't stand it. I'll have to maybe like leave and possibly go touch myself.
Wow, what a statement! I texted you the link, John. So check your phone. Wow, what a statement!
Hey, happy 4th wrist day. How are you doing, buddy?
Happy 4th of July. That's right. It's America. And you know what? There's no one more American than Jonathan M. Carney, who's always got his Captain America T-shirt on, his his American flag Crocs. I think he has an American flag pair of shorts too. He's
American flag Crocs.
He's got multiple pairs, man. He takes it. His patriotic like attire is very serious. I mean, if someone was to impersonate John Carney,
We need to maybe get American flag like Olakais or something along those lines. Crocs.
that's his thing, man. You know why he likes them? I tell you why he likes them. 'Cause he's so tied in with like food and like the chef world, and like that's what like chefs wear. They wear like the rubber clogs, and I think that's why, because like they're on their feet in the kitchen all day. I think that's why he likes them, because he's like used to like that whole like atmosphere, and he's like, dude, they're comfortable. He wears them everywhere. I mean, he's a big dude. He's always moving around. I get it. Whatever makes him comfortable, you know. I texted him the link, but
he hasn't jumped on yet. He says he'll jump. He said he'll jump on now, so we'll see.
he said,
I mean,
"I'll
as
jump
far
on
as
now."
like as far as the comfort footwear goes, now Facebook just lost a feed again.
Yeah, see, I don't know why it keeps doing that. It's so weird.
So, but in as far as discussing like the uber comfortable footwear and whatnot, you know, Barbara and I recently discovered Hey Dudes. I want to tell you what, that is like the absolute most comfortable shoe I have ever put on my foot.
So I've seen those Hey Dudes around, and I don't know if I can pull those off. I don't know if that's my style, but I've seen them.
That should be
They're getting
everybody's
popular.
style.
See, Jonathan Carney, I texted you the link. He asked for the link. I sent it to him, and now he didn't read the message.
Yeah, I was actually blown away. It's like I've seen a lot of people wear those things and never really, you know, just okay, you know, blah 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 blah. We went to the mall in search of sandals for Barbara, or no, we went in search of tennis shoes for me, and stumbled in. It's like, hey, they have a Hey Dude store. Let's go check it out. And I put a pair on my feet.
They have a whole store?
They have a whole store.
Wow.
I put a pair on my feet, and we each left with 2 pairs.
Wow. I might have to check these out. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I don't know if they're my style. Not that I don't think that, you know, but they are getting popular. I see a lot of people, you know, rocking the Hey Dudes now, and I'm like, damn, all right, these.
I mean, I am like one of the world's largest Olokai fans. I love Olokai flip flops, Olokai sandals. These things are like, holy shit, super comfortable, and they're literally like half the price of Olokais. So,
I'm getting excited. You know what's about to go down. I'm very excited. I'm very excited.
Is he here?
He's
here?
he's in the green room. So I gotta do this right. I gotta do this right. It's his,
So
this is his
drum roll.
this is his first public appearance. Look at him. I can see the little smile on his face. He's getting excited. He knows it. He knows what's coming. He's about to get welcomed like he's about to be introed with the '97 Bulls before the NBA Finals. And he earned it, man. He fucking earned it. He deserves an intro. I mean, he is a legend.
See, we need like a sound effect or something, but we don't have anything.
We do. I have a soundboard, sound effects board here. That
You gotta find something good.
I got something here. He keeps getting up though.
Pressure's
I want
on.
to wait till he's seated and he's like stay because I don't want to like welcome in and I just see an empty chair. So I'm waiting until he's like settled. I can tell he's like getting his shit together. You know, I can tell he's getting his shit together. He's got a. Oh, he had to get bug spray or something. Okay, so he's getting his he's getting his scenery set up. Which anyone who's been watching the show since day one knows. A lot of the original episodes, John would be on, but he'd be over there at the grill, and you wouldn't even see him. But he'd be going into a full like, you know, in the cigar business, you know, one of the things you got to understand. He'd get up and he'd leave, and he'd go on this tangent, but he wouldn't even be there. He'd be like cooking on the grill.
Your steak sizzling on the grill.
But you know what I mean? That's why he's John Carney, because he can do like 7 things at once, and he makes it easy. But I think he's settled in now. So he gave me the thumbs up. So all right, it's time. The former vice president of sales for Flor Dominicana, now retired from the cigar business, in his first public appearance since this groundbreaking news that you heard first at SmokinTabacco.com. It's true, you did. All the way from Maine, the great state of Maine, just north of me. It's Jonathan M. Carney, and here he is. He's on the show. Jonathan, let's get this going. That's right. Here he is. Here he is. Give it to him. Give it up.
Hey.
Give it up. Give it up.
All right.
Cheers, buddy.
We're gonna. Hey, Kevin. What's gonna happen? What's going to happen is we're going to upgrade a few things here at Smokin Tabacco. We're going to redo the intro next week. I think Spare Notes is still good, right?
No, we got to
No.
update that one too because Kevin's not in that one. I've been
All right.
meaning to fix that
My
one.
my first client, my first client on my freelancing gig is going to be redoing the things in Smoking Tobacco that we were going to do a year ago. I got to add some names to
You
it.
get all
And
this
I'm
time
better
now.
than I was. Yeah, I'm better than I was a year ago, dude. You were talking about the beginning of the show. Remember the one time we had somebody complain about us? There was two that were funny, but well, one they were complaining that it was unprofessional for me to be eating on the show.
Oh, I remember that. That was years ago.
Who the hell said
Yeah. There
that?
was like 20.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I wouldn't know, some random loser. And
Guy
then
shouldn't be
we
eating
had
on the
somebody that was
show.
upset. Yeah, shouldn't be eating on the show. And then they said we didn't like we did a thing up in the carriage house at his family's house, and they were upset because we dressed in like basketball jerseys one night, and it was like that's not a way to interview someone. The whole thing was hilarious, but the eating on the show was crazy because I was like, that's like, does this person not understand anything about me? I'm like, eating is like my thing. Like it's awkward for me not to eat on the show.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's
I mean, we have
it's
to,
what makes
we
you
got to
you.
have the John Carney tomahawk steak episode.
Yeah.
You know, we can go from
It'll happen.
from start to finish.
Yeah, so
It'll-
we'll definitely be. I'll be around a little bit more. I'll be an actual co-founder of this thing and show up every once in a while now. And yeah, we can do an official show too. I just happened to go downstairs, and I was outside having a cigar with my dad, sipping on some wine, and it got buggy out here, of course, and it wasn't that bad till I said I'm sitting in a different part of the house, but I got on. I was like, "Oh, you guys are live." I'm like, I ought to jump on and say hi.
Well, it's good to see you, John. I have to say it's been a very long week for you, and it's only Wednesday, and I know that this is kind of like your vacation week. So I'm not gonna get into it unless you want to. So it's just
Bro,
nice
I'm
to
my
be
own
here.
boss. I'm my own boss. Yeah, I'm my own boss now. I can be on vacation any day I want now. The problem is now that I am my own boss, I've found this out just in 2 days of being my own boss. Um, you don't ever get to take vacation again. Even when you're doing something, you're not on vacation anymore.
Right.
Um, and obviously, I've got a new cell phone number, everything like that, and I'm back just to my private phone, and not everybody has that, so it has been a little relaxing on that end. But I'll tell you the funniest thing for me. I'm a cigar smoker, so me being identified as cigars, that doesn't change. Nothing changes. What I established over the last 14 years, that doesn't, none of that changes. But in terms of like who I am, I'm not somebody different in the cigar world than I was out of it, and whatever goes on next, I'm still the same person. But the funniest thing for me was, bro, I've spent 14 years being glued to a cell phone. Okay, like emails coming through, notifications, office emailing me, owners emailing me, asking questions, retailers calling me, and 36 hours ago, it was that, and then that 37th hour, it didn't exist anymore, and it's so weird because today, like, found myself being on the phone all day and like jumping back to my phone. I'm like, what am I going back on my phone to look at? I'm like, I go in my emails and I'm like, I don't have any emails. Why am I checking my emails? Now, I was going online looking at, things that people were saying, reading stories and things. Obviously, anybody who says they don't look at those things is either one, lying to you, or two, mentally unstable. If you don't want to know what people are saying about you, you've got some really big mental issues. Now, admitting it, or being concerned about what people are saying to you is one, that's a different thing, but being curious of what's being said. So, I was on that kind of stuff, but finally, the last like 3 hours, I just set my phone down. I was like, I don't need this for anything. I'm sitting outside with my dad having a cigar, my wife, kid are inside, my niece, my sister, my mom. And I was like, I don't need to be on my phone. Like, there's nothing going on right now that needs me to be even remotely close to my phone. So that was kind of cool. That was one of the big differences. I think tomorrow I'll be a little bit more comfortable with it. But the last 36 hours, it was kind of like just weird.
Well, I mean, you've spent, like you said, the last 14 years. I mean, you were 27 when you got to LFD, on the road, and then you become, one of the youngest VPs, and so for a lot of your adult life, you know, after college and yeah, I mean this has been your life. It's been nonstop on the road, on the phone,
Yep.
everything. Taking care of all
Yep.
of those clients, and now it's just done. And you're like, oh, what do I do now?
Yeah.
I mean, you have shit to do. I know you have
Yeah.
shit to do, but you're right. It's
Yeah, I got a lot going on, but
But it's
really it's my
different.
own timing at this point, right? Yeah.
yeah, but it's different. You don't have to answer to other people. You're not taking care of someone else's business where you have to. You're doing your own business, which is important, but you answer to yourself. So yeah, it is. It's different. And I'm sure
Gotta be
tell
a
you, the
breath of fresh
hardest-
air
weird.
for sure.
Yeah, it was. I had one person from the industry message me, and it says the message was literally this, and this person's a high up in this industry, and they said to me, "Dude, it must have felt like you just took a 30-pound shit." And I was like, I go 40 pounds, bro. I go, you have no idea. It's the road's glamorous. There's a lot of fun things about it, and I don't think you realize when you do it literally all the time how much that you actually kind of do miss out on things. So I'm looking forward to that, and I have a ton going on. Everybody's seen, for the most part, that follows me on social media, have seen the Shoulders of Giants stuff. And
Yes.
that's something my dad has been doing for about 10 years. And I've been kind of helping him on some little things. We launched the website several months back. And it was just something for fun to put his newsletters out on it. He's been doing this for 10 years. He's got like 200 editions. Coincidentally, July is our like 10 year anniversary. So we're going to be the day the month the company start, we're going to celebrate the 10-year anniversary. So that was kind of fun. That's something that I was practicing a lot of skills and things on. That's where I learned a lot of AI things, and it was just a fun hobby because he was, he's in his 70s. He was looking for some purpose and looking to do something. And I said, hey, you know what? Let's build you a website, build some logos. I go and start treating your newsletter like a really professional thing. And he had about 90 people that follow the newsletter. Now we got about 200. And that was just from the last 24 hours, which has been amazing. So that's been really cool, and that's a fun project. And we're gonna, we do consulting and different things like that. So we'll see what goes with that. But I do have a lot of other things going on at the same time too that I'm trying to put together. And the challenge now for me is to enjoy this few weeks that I have that are really patient and calm before I start executing some things. So next week I'm gonna have a little bit heavier week for myself. I got some things I'm gonna be involved in locally in Florida, but the next 2 to 3 weeks I'm gonna kind of try to focus as much as I can on me and the family and not go too gun ho into any of the projects I've got in works. The Shoulders of Giants thing, that's set up, but I'm not really executing any financial side of it yet. That's in regard to bringing on clients, and that'll get a little more obvious as I get into it. People follow it, but yeah. So I'm kind of taking this next couple weeks just to kind of relax, get some time back from it, and then I'll start to put a little more pressure on the Shoulders of Giants stuff, the social media work, the website design, business and brand design, marketing, social media marketing, and the AI integration things that I'm able to do. But that'll take a little bit of time. But I'm gonna enjoy this small break that I do have, because entrepreneurship, I've talked to some friends of mine. I grew up in it. My family owned restaurants, and the highs are higher when you're your own business owner, and the lows are lower, and you're responsible for things. So it's not like there's no stress. It's not like there's not the stakes are higher because it's everything you do, and I understand that. But growing up in an entrepreneurial environment, my whole life was it's kind of comforting to be back in this spot where I have back kind of control of what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. Not that it wasn't a good balance in what I was doing before, but the 14 years I learned a lot of stuff, and I'm in a really different spot skill-wise, mentally, than where I was when I started doing this, and so it's going to be fun to kind of unleash 14 years worth of education and things that I've learned, what works, what doesn't work. Maybe be back in the cigar business someday. I don't know, but there's a lot in the works, and there's a lot of things I am working on. But in the meantime, I'm gonna sit back and relax while I can, because after after I'm done relaxing, there's no more relaxation for forever, other than the relaxation and knowing that I'm controlling my own destiny.
You know, John, it's funny.
Good.
You said something earlier about how, like, you know, you're so identifiable with the cigar business. You know, now you're not in the cigar business, but you know, MJ will always be a basketball legend, even though now he is invested in so many other businesses. But he still will always be remembered for being a basketball champ. You'll always be remembered for being a cigar champ, even if, no matter what you do now. You know, so
Well, it's I mean, it's cool for me to DC and to hear him say, he's taken a minute to pump the brakes.
dude, he deserves
Because
it.
I mean, John, I mean, I don't know you very well, but I mean, from what I know of you, that's like you're like full speed ahead all the time. So to hear you say you're going to take just a little bit of time to pump the brakes and enjoy life a little bit before you dive in headfirst into the next venture, that's good because I mean, I'm older, so and I can definitely appreciate that, and I know it's time that you're never going to get back. So
Yep.
it's great to be able to see you be able to take that just a little bit of time, reset, and come in, head first and full speed ahead on your next venture. So that's freaking awesome.
I'll be
Yeah.
honest with you. I've
No,
spent
you're
a
right, Kevin. You got. Oh, sorry. I'll be quick here, man. So you can say
No,
what
go
you say,
ahead.
but
No, go ahead.
but I'm the guest, so
Take all the time you need.
it's funny because it's easy not to do that, and the if you just move into the next thing, there's not a moment of reflection on what you just did, what direction you're going to go going forward, and there's also when you have transition, there's a unique moment for you to step away from what you were doing, and then you're going to step into what's next. And if you just step right into one thing to the next, one, I think you can risk burnout, which probably was what goes on anyway. A lot of that happens to the cigar business or any type of position with a lot of travel. But then you risk burnout. But then at the same time, it gives you no time to separate really from what you were doing to going into the next things. Now, I'm not going to lie. Shoulders of Giants is not my only project that I'm going to be doing. It's a big part of it, and it was something that I've been working on, and it was something that I value a lot because of my father's involvement in it and his passion and his career and leadership. So it was something that was just had a few tweaks and was ready to go, and it was a matter of it was immediately ready to be brought out into the public. It looks the part. It's a beautiful. Everything about it's nice and ready to go. It's got an AI chatbot connected to it, so if somebody messages me on there, I don't have to deal with it. My AI chatbot will communicate with them. So it was ready to go, and that's why, you know, that's why when all this news came out, I was like, you know what? It wasn't just a marketing thing. It was like, I talked to my dad about it, and it was like, this is okay, this is ready to go. Like, this is what we unleash. Like, it's time to let people know what you've been doing. It's time to let them know what we've been doing as a hobby, and I think that's got some real value to it. And it was it was a perfect timing for it, and it was a perfect transition, and it was honestly a way too for me. I just got bug spray in my eye. It was also a way for me to give somebody an answer, whether I owe it to them or not. People want to know, hey, what's next? What's going to happen? What are you going to be doing? And I wanted people to know that, hey, one, I'm okay. Two, I do know what's going on next. This is part of something much bigger, but this is the first step in that. And and I think there was a lot of excitement around it. I think there's a lot of things. I've had people that reached out to me today that are retailers that have said, "Man, I've looked over the website and the stuff you can do, like this could fit in with what we're doing." And I'm like, that's exactly why I wanted people to know what was the first step, because I do think there's a lot of value to it and a lot of experience, and especially in this business, there'll be probably a lot of cigar people that I do work with. Just because that's what I've been doing in my connections the last 14 years. We'll be bringing on other clients and things too. But that was the first step, and I wanted people to know that that I'm not just going away to like sit and take a month off and relax and chill, which I'm going to do a lot of that. But at the same time, hey, I got skills. I want you to know they're available, and I want you to know that we can work with you. And and manage some unique things and provide some great input for people. So that's why I didn't just say, hey, no comment, or what was going on here. Well, you know what? I have a comment. I'm going to hang out with my family. I'm going to enjoy myself. I'm going to focus on my future ventures, and this is the one that I'm doing. So here you go. So I didn't need to sit there and wait for some sort of a press release or announcement for people. It was, hey, this is what it is. I be transparent, and this is what I'm be doing. In the meantime, if you do happen to message me on there in the next 2 weeks, you're probably not getting a reply.
So you're
Very
actually
well said.
going to relax and chill. I honestly didn't think you knew how to relax and chill. So that's actually encouraging to hear.
He does.
There's hope
We're
for
about to find out.
everybody.
We're about to find out.
If Carney knows how to relax and chill, there's hope for everybody. Okay.
What I was going to say earlier was, look, I mean, when John was, working with LaFleur, I mean, I spent a lot of time with him, and I'd go visit shops with him and do events with him, and yeah, man, he fucking grinds. He definitely does deserve the downtime. It's I'd see his day and like, dude, this is like how you live your life every day. Holy shit, I'm exhausted just after one. Like, like holy fuck. I've said it to him so many times. So yeah, I mean, for him to have some downtime, it's it's well deserved. I mean, enjoy it, dude, because I know you need it.
I can't wait to get some. I mean, Barbara has taught me, having Barbara in my life has taught me relax and chill and bring family into the picture and whatnot, which I never learned before. So because it was always full speed ahead for me. So I can totally relate, John, to what you're going through and what you're feeling right now.
The worst part of all of this so far has been when everything was settled on Monday. So this was handled and done. The separation and my departure was done on Monday. Okay, at about like 5:15. So the first thing I did is I went to my daughter because she was watching a television show when I was handling some business, and she's 2.5. And I'm like, hey baby, I call her Tuna. I'm like, hey Tuna, I'm like, daddy's done doing his job, and I go, for good. And I go, does that make you happy? Can daddy have a hug? And she goes, no. I'm like, okay, all right.
No. Well,
So I had some things I needed to do that evening, so I went to do them, and I got back at like 9:30 or whatever, and I had to take my dog over, which his name's Jonathan. If you don't know that, Kevin, we both have the same name. So he was before me. I didn't name my dog after me, but so I had to drop him off at the in-laws because we're going to Maine. So I had to be up at 3:30 in the morning the next day. So I'm like, good grief! I'm like, so the first day that I'm not doing anything, and that I'm my own employer, and I've got this plan to take some time off. I'm like, I got to be up at 3:30 in the morning, fly to Boston, drive 4.5 hours to Maine, where I live. I'm like, so I get here, my family wants to talk, and I said, I'm sorry. I'm like, my brain is not operating correctly right now. I go, like, give me a day and a half. I go, and then I'll finally get to internalize some stuff. So tomorrow, I'm starting to feel it now, but tomorrow I think is going to be the real first day that I'm like, exhale a little bit and really kind of internalize some stuff.
yeah, of course.
What part of Maine are you in, John?
I live about 40 minutes north of Bangor. It's this little town called Lincoln.
Okay,
deep.
my brother's in
Beautiful town.
Jonesboro.
Okay, yeah, we're north of there.
So
I'm about an hour and 20 minutes south of New Brunswick on I-95.
okay, very very cool. It's like Barbara and I went there in during the COVID year. That was my first time ever in Maine. It was actually the first time ever meeting my brother as well, but it was pretty cool. We loved it up there.
That's awesome. You said first time meeting your brother, like ever?
Yeah, because basically the story is I'm adopted. So
Yeah. That's so cool.
So we went through the genealogy thing, and I actually found brothers and sisters. So I have a brother in Jonesboro, Maine. I have a sister in Gloversville, New York, and then come to find out, I had basically 6 other siblings. From from
No
my
shit.
dad. So that was actually cool. So it was neat to be able to meet my brother for the first time and get to go to Maine for the first time and whatnot. So that was cool.
My dad and I were just talking about it tonight because we were looking at some stuff out in the backyard that we did over COVID. Because when COVID hit, I was up here, so I was locked down with my parents for like 6 months, which was great because it happened to be like the earliest the snow melted, and it was like that same year in 2020 was like the latest we got snow. My dad and I opened the pool in April. Okay, we opened the pool, swam in it. The next 5 days later, there was a snowstorm. It melted 3 days later. We went swimming again, and we didn't close it until the first week of November.
That's
in
crazy.
Northern Maine.
Wild
it was
year.
crazy.
My brother said
dad
it judged
keeps
that was
track.
like 97.
Yeah, so my dad keeps track every year when we open the pool, like the date and what the weather is, and then the date we close it, trying to like break records. We broke the record by like 3 weeks on opening, and we crushed the closing by like 2 months. It was crazy. So it was like I said to myself, we'll never be able to do that ever again because, we'd like to keep this house in the family forever. I said, but I won't be up here to open it up with you early because we did everything together, and then I also won't be here for you to close it. And the main reason that took forever to close is the service that comes and gets it ready for the winter was so backed up because of labor and all this stuff that's going. Things were going on, crazy things with COVID, like pool business out of control. So they were backed up like months. So we had it ready to go, and it was closed. And this was like early October. And I said to my dad's like, there's going to be like one more nice week. He's like, and they haven't come to do the closing yet. He's like, because we took some of the water out. And he's like, should I fill it back up? And I said, hell yeah, you fill it back up. And we went swimming in like freaking November in Maine. And it was awesome.
One thing
That's like literally unheard of.
One thing to know about John is that if he's able to, he likes to take a dip in the pool before he goes to bed. Cools him off.
Yeah, I'm gonna tonight. We got it up to like 89 degrees over here. It's nice.
That's a thing. He'll always dip in the pool.
I would love to do that, but I don't want the pain in the ass of having to take care of a pool. So,
dude, when Matt and I first met, I was at his family's house, and so I was out in I had like a separate little building from you, kind of like a shed, but it was a pool house, but a big shed. And a nice pool house. So I was sleeping out there, and we were up to like 3 or 4 in the morning or whatever. And then like Matt goes to bed. I went in and like put my stuff away and like got organized. And I woke up and like went swimming at like 4:30 in the morning. I was like, I gotta take a dip before I go to bed because we were having cigars, and smoking, and I was like, I don't want to shower. I'm gonna go swimming. So I went freaking swimming at like 4:30 for like 20 minutes, and then went back in and went to bed.
Yeah. I remember that. You had your essential oil set up.
That would be freaking awesome.
Yeah, I did. I had a freaking man. You remember so many random little things, which is so good. That's one of the reasons I love you. But you remember such random things, and he reminds me of stuff that I remember too. I just wouldn't remember. And I had this little essential oil diffuser, like this lantern. The whole thing was hilarious.
Dude, he had like the spread.
Yeah,
it's like he's don't travel. Like he's like, I bring my essential oils. I got my things. I'm like, what's going on?
Man,
I remember I went in the house. I got changed. I went back out to because I knew he was still awake. I like crept back out there, and he's out there in his underwear and his t-shirt. He's got his oils going, and I'm like, what's going on in here? Like, this is very like
I forgot you did. You came back out.
He's like, oh, I'm just just getting comfortable. I'm like, yeah, I can tell.
So guys, sorry I missed it. What was the industry news tonight?
Just some fucking guy who lost his job.
Yes, some guy named John that worked for LFD.
Which actually, I should have done, and unfortunately, what a missed opportunity. I don't know how I fucked this up, but that news story should have been brought to you by. I should go back and fix this now. That news story should have been brought to you by Micallef Cigars. That's right, featuring the Micallef Black, rated 91 at SmokinTabacco.com by Mr. Kevin Acuff. Check out the Micallef Black now. It's a blackout. But to reiterate,
my dad was smoking one of those. My dad was smoking a Micallef when I pulled up in front of the house yesterday.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah. And then he said
the black?
He said to me, he smoked the I don't know. It was not the black. He was smoking the one with the blue band, but I don't know if it was the A or if it was something else. He only had the
Micallef.
top band, but
Yeah.
it might have been that. So he brought it out to me, and he was like, "Hey, he's like, I like this. It was really good." I was like, "Oh, Micallef, I go, that's kind of cool." And so I told him a little story about Al and Dan and everybody over there. But no, he enjoyed it, so that's fitting. And I'm not just saying that. He did actually smoke that cigar.
Yeah, I mean, Micallef has been doing some great things the last few years. They introduced the black.
Yeah.
They just reintroduced they introduced the blue. I think they have some other stuff that they're working on for the future that would be kind of cool. So, yeah, shout out to Micallef. They covered the news tonight, but yeah, once again, just officially, since now that Micallef is on the screen, the news tonight officially was that Jonathan Carney, Vice President of Sales, and Flor Dominicana have parted ways. That's right. After all these years, it's no more. It's no more. And what a way to go.
I'm going to give people some advice. I'm going to give some people some advice here. So, the news coverage, the media coverage of this was really good. Obviously, Smokin Tabacco is going to launch the news on that and break the story for obvious reasons. But I didn't have any involvement in what you were writing other than the quote I gave you, and then letting you know that I was moving on. And it was really nice. And then Coop's piece was excellent, and I didn't do anything to reach out to him. And then Charlie's was really well. So my advice to people, unless you're like just angry and pissed off or something, I don't know. Give media, like when they ask you if you got a comment, like give them a comment. Like, give them something to write about. Say something positive and give a comment. Because it's funny because I had a lot of people like, oh, I was interested to hear what people were going to say, and like, I'm like not the comments, but like in the media pieces, and because there's always some opinions or some, in a story, you're going to provide some sort of context on something. And if there's no context given and there's no like direction that anything should be taken, then it just kind of is, black and white, right? And then it's left up for people to kind of to interpret. And when people interpret things, rumors get started or this and that, and the reality of whatever went on is not actually important. What's important is how things are framed and how you provide it. So my recommendation to anyone is provide a comment, and if it was bad, then don't say anything bad, and just say something positive, and then but give a comment. The pieces were like when reach for a comment, such and such declined. Like, right, well, just what do you decline? Say something.
Yeah, I mean,
thank you for the years I was here. Thank you for the people that I worked with. It was a blast.
Like I said at the beginning, I don't know if you were watching, John, but when I first brought it up, I said, look, I go, John and I prefaced everything on that topic with, and I've said this to everyone involved, kind of, I have a personal relationship with John, obviously, as a friend. And then I have, maybe not so much anymore, technically. But, and I had a business relationship with John. So, when it was LFD, cigar business stuff, I had a professional relationship. I approach things a very different way because there's a level of professionalism that comes along with that. But, again, he also is a very close personal friend of mine. So there's also, I do talk to him more often than I talk to a lot of professional people that I know. So, when John came to me as a friend to tell me this news, I said, oh, wow. And, obviously the first thing in my mind was, I got to put a story together. But at the same time, it was like, hey, it's crazy. And I said this in the beginning of the show, I was sitting there at my laptop and I was writing the story. And I put the headline on, and Jonathan Carney, LFD, part ways. And I just remember I stopped. I had to read it like 5 times. I was like, wow, I can't believe I'm actually like that exists. I never thought I'd see the day. It's kind of weird to read that. But yeah, no, I mean it's. And I texted John. I go, hey, so what do you want to say? And he gave me his quote, and I said, great, and that was it. So yeah, I mean, there's no reason not to. I mean.
And I didn't say anything to anyone either about the Shoulder of Giants thing. I mean, I just changed my social media and whatnot, and and obviously made that a little higher profile. My nearly 7,000 followers on what I've been doing with cigars and food the last 14 years is obviously bigger than what I had on the other side, so that's going to be there. But I didn't mention that to anybody, and everybody picked it up, and it was really nice to kind of see that be a focus point, and I said it made a big impact. So I thank the people for picking it, and it was newsworthy too. That was what am I doing? That's what I'm doing. So
That's
I
what you're
said,
doing.
I
That's what
get
you're
some
doing
people
next.
maybe. I get some people may leave and be in a position where they can't say anything, or they got something else lined up and they can't say anything. I mean, what I have lined up are things that I'm doing, so now I'm in control of when I provide that information, and I wanted that to, kind of resonate through how I handled when people asked me about this, about my leaving. So, that would be my advice. Say something positive, and don't not comment. Like, for what? What does that gain? There's nothing to gain by not commenting unless you're just fed up and want to be, you know, on your own and not talk to anybody again. That's fine. I get that, but I would always recommend say something and say something positive.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, look, like I said, I've done a lot of these. I've done a lot of, like staff departure stories and announcements, and whether it starts with that individual or it's on behalf of the company making a statement. As I've always said, or even like other instances too, where it's kind of like, not that it's a negative, but just when it's like two-sided, like lawsuit stuff too. I always reach out to both sides. It's like, hey, it's like there's a situation here. Like, would you like to provide a comment on your behalf? And like, do you want to provide a comment? Because it should be fair. And and yeah, you make a comment. And now, what I will say is, yeah, in some of those, like with the lawsuit ones, like some people can't make a comment. I get that. But like when it's something like this, sure, like make a comment. I mean, like I fully agree with everything you said, John. It's so true. And as someone who has to write them, I appreciate it, because it's like people say like, well, what happened? Well, I reached out and they said they don't want to talk about it. So that's it.
Well, it just makes for a better. It also makes for a better. It
Story.
just makes for a better story too. Like, I think part of the reason why this had had a lot of attention around it was, one, at the time I've been there, and I understand that, and my level of recognition within the cigar business, but
Reputation.
also because there was actually something to read. Like it was, I didn't want this time when it came to be a situation where people was like, oh, interesting, and they leave some comments, right? I was like, I want this to be, to be not, kind of like a celebration of what's to come for people, what's to come for anyone, and hopefully some inspiration for people. Because it's I watch some of these departure things, and it's like, such and such announced this, such and such did this. When we reached out to such and such, there was no comment. This is a developing story, and then it's dead, right? I think this got a lot more attention because there was stuff to read, there was stuff to be involved in, and the reality for me is there is stuff to read, and there is stuff to be involved in. Like, I'm not going to do things, and it said the best is yet to come. There's a lot of plans in the works, and a lot of things that I've been thinking in my head that I just had to get down on paper, and I'll work on those things. So it said the best is yet to come, and it was important to make sure that it was represented in that way, and it said it was very simple, and when you provide honesty, I think this industry is a really unique place to be, and everybody was really receptive to it, and I think it went really well. It was nice to hear. It was nice to hear and read and see positive things, and also, it was nice to know if something was said negative, I could tell them to go F themselves, and it wouldn't have any impact on anything except myself. So that was nice.
Well, that
But I
was
didn't
actually
have
the
to
one
do that
thing
yet.
I wanted. That was the one thing I actually wanted to say is, like, and I'm not saying that this was a negative situation, but even if it's a negative situation, if you have something positive to say and you have a positive comment, positive post, positive feedback, everybody wins from that.
Yep.
So I
Yep.
think that's
And
that's
ain't
that's a
nobody
that's a big plus.
ain't
You gotta find the positive in the negative.
yeah. And ain't anybody ever gonna know if it was negative or positive, so it doesn't make any sense. And nobody wins on any of those sides other than being positive. So
No,
it's
for
that's what
sure.
it's
Keep it
about,
positive and
and
moving
it's an
forward.
important thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, but no, it was definitely interesting, and it was been a fun couple days, and like I said, it's still a lot, still everything's still fresh, and there'll still be more conversations on it, and but no, it was a really cool couple days, and it was really, personally rewarding to see how many people actually provide support, which is great, and we're watching what I was doing, So if you're watching, just wait. You're coming along for a ride, everybody. We're gonna have a good time, and there's gonna be a lot of fun and exciting things going on as we go down the road and figure out what the hell we're doing.
Well, one of the questions I was going to ask you is, you're back up in Maine. You have more time to be on the shows, maybe, kind of. So maybe we see you more on the show. But you mentioned the COVID years, like the beginning years, and there was something about that time that came to mind randomly. Again, this is one of those things I remember. I don't think you forgot about this one, but will we see a return of John Carney and the boxed wine? I mean, that was a big thing back in the day. He went on during the pandemic. He was drinking through all of his bottles of wine, and then he started getting boxed wine, and he started going through them all too, and he was trying them all, and he's like, dude, I got all these boxed wines, and that was like a thing for like a week.
That was like 2 weeks. That was awful. Then I didn't drink for like 4 months.
I can't even see John Carney drinking box wine.
He did.
You know why?
It was like a
well,
lowest
you know why?
of a low.
What happened? Well, what happened was I didn't expect everything to go on for as long as it did. And it was pretty loose up in Maine for the first like 3 weeks. And then things started to tighten up a little bit, and I started realizing like I'm not going back to do anything. And then like I'm buying really nice wines and stuff, because the first few weeks it was like literally the first 2 weeks was like vacation, right? Off the road, and you're kind of like, all right, nobody knows what's going on. And then I'm kind of like, all right, this is getting real. So, we'd started the cooking show, the quarantine grilling that night, got this going shortly after, a couple months later. And then I'm like, I can't afford to keep like every night drink like a $50 bottle of wine. Or what happened was like two. So I went through like a small private stash of like 30 or 40 bottles I had, and then I had like stuff being shipped in, and I'm like, all right, this is not going to work. I'm like, I gotta get drunk some other way. So I was like, the cheapest way to do this is to like find these Boda box wines. I found this one. It was called like Dark Midnight or something. Somebody might know it, but it's still out there, and it was pretty good. But it was just straight up sugar and beat the hell out of you. And man, we'd be up till like 4 or 5 in the morning, jumping around chat rooms. And I'd like fall asleep, and then I'd wake up in the middle of the night at like 6 or 7 and go lay in the basement floor because it was cold and drink water. So I did that for like 2 weeks, and I'm like, I'm gonna die. I'm like, this is not healthy. So I was like, and Matt's like, dude, like I tried to tell you that, of course it's not. And so I'd go from like drinking like 2 bottles of wine, maybe 3, to like a 5-bottle box. So
Jesus.
no, that's not going to be returning. I am going to still drink wine and stuff, but I'll tell you, man, once you, even just in 2 days, once you're focusing on your own things, your level of responsibility really does change. Even if you're doing your full effort, it's never like working for yourself. If you're entrepreneurial, you're always got to be on. You always got to have things going on, and you still have to do that in your job. And when people say that, it makes them, I think sometimes people are like, well, why didn't you try where you're at? Yeah, I tried. I gave everything. But you don't know what everything is until everything is your everything. Your family, your wife, your kids, stuff like that, your home, bills. Those are realities. So you don't really realize that until it's all on you. And and there's a couple different ways you can take things. You can either move on to the next step and keep doing some of the things you were doing, or for me, part of what I did is eat and drink. People liked eating and drinking with me. I think I'm fun to do that with. And the next step for me, I'm still going to be fun to eat and drink with, but I told my friends at home, they're like, oh, you can come hang out with us during. I'm like, no. I go, we're going to pick one day. I go, and that's the day that we're going to hang out and do our things and have a great time. I go, other than that, I go, the other days I'm not doing that. I go, I can't. I go, because I got to be at the full, I got to have my mind in the right places. Everything I'm doing is being created by me. And it's 100% dependent on me. So you can't have a down moment, because you're down. As I said, the lows are lower and the highs are higher, right? So if you have a low day and there's a team around you supporting you, you can still get things done, and you can get them done at a high level. If your team is you and you're at a low level, guess what? Everything's operating at a low level. So my focus is to back off slightly, but certainly the box wines will not be returning. I will be on the show a little more. Obviously, that would be something that I'll do because I like doing it. And I'm going to apologize to Kevin and everybody in advance that I talk don't shut up. So I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. I mean,
There's nobody on the planet that talks more than Matthew, so you have nothing to apologize for.
no, there is. No, there is. There is.
Yeah.
This I don't know why this is so I don't know why this is so zoomed in, but this is one of the OG photos from our early days, when we would do the show. There's John. That's his Miami apartment. That was way back in the day.
Yeah.
I have another good photo that I'm trying to get onto the laptop here. That I think is very quintessential to the conversation. Oh, here it is. There we go.
I'm just waiting for the John payback for that photo being shown.
That was on a show. I mean, it's already out there. That was just a picture that was
It's
taken
out
in the
I
there.
room.
didn't
but
do
I
a
mean-
ton.
I mean,
I
that,
didn't do a
like-
ton of
like-
shows. I didn't do a ton of shows out of my apartment, so that was probably like July of 2021.
Yeah, that was
'Cause
later
I was
on.
down there a lot, and then the last show I think I did out of the apartment was the 2022 anniversary show where we did the auction with the
Yes.
spinning wheel, the raffle.
I remember that.
Yep.
That was the one when I think you took over that whole show, and then I had to leave,
We
and
went
you kept going.
late. We went late, dude. We
There
went
it
to like
is.
2:30 in the morning. Oh my god, that was late.
This
man.
is this photo right here that I'm about to bring up on the screen. This was the epitome of the early days. This was
Yeah.
this
I'm wearing the same shirt.
oh shit,
I
you
got the
are.
same shirt on. Yeah.
That's fucking funny.
That was the
Yeah, we drank like 3 or 4 bottles of champagne, and then opened up that bottle at like 8 o'clock for dinner, because that was during the summer. So you can see that it's pretty light out, but it's
Yeah.
dark. It's like 8:30 at night. So we
Yeah.
opened like a 3 liter up, and he's like, "Are we gonna finish?" I'm like, "Are we gonna finish this?" And either you or me are like, "Yes." And
No,
so
I
we
asked
just
you.
went through that thing.
because it was like
Yeah.
7:30 at night when we opened that, and I said so.
I actually remember you told me that story, Matt.
And I said, I go, wait a minute. I go, John, I go, 7:30. We're just open. I go, we gotta finish this. And you went, oh, we're finishing this wine. And I was like, my mind was like, oh shit. I'm like,
I'm actually going to have to up my
Yep.
game to be able to hang with you two, especially if John's going to be more involved in the show. I'm definitely going to have to up my game to be able to hang with you guys.
yeah,
Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what the John 2.0 here. What we're kind of calling me, and this was dubbed by Lito Jr. My nickname, one of my nicknames, is going to be John AI. I'm a sentient being.
Yeah.
So John AI is one of my nicknames. So you can see one of my social media, which won't be a lot of stuff on it. It's just like a little private thing, but it's public, but it's private. But I made a little logo, and it's the tag's John.ai, which shockingly didn't exist. I couldn't believe that it didn't exist.
yeah. And now it's you.
Win-win.
Yep. All right. So what's the next? What are we doing? What's going on in the show now?
That was
next?
it. I mean, we already really did the show. I
Oh,
mean,
that was it.
you kind of
Oh,
came towards
wow.
the end, but this was all you. This was all special edition. This
Oh.
was all
Okay.
unplanned.
Okay.
Well, we were supposed to
Right.
have
John-
we were supposed to have Bobby Newman on the show, but he had to reschedule. So kind of the last minute, we kind
Yep.
of changed our gears a little bit, and
Yep.
but then you were here, so we just kind of ran with it. So, but yeah, we
It was
covered
like
everything.
the grand finale for our 4th of July show.
Yeah, this was it.
That was another reason too. That was another reason because you posted on the we're live July 4th, whatever. And I was like, I can't do this. I can't have a July 4th show not involve me on it. Now I do. It will be a little different because I'm in a different financial position. But there is going to be a fireworks show tomorrow for like the 15th year in a row. I do not know if I'm going to live stream it yet or not, but I might. If I do live stream it, I'm going to have to do a little bit of work to get the production program back up and going because I haven't used it in years. But I think I'd like to stream the fireworks show, but I haven't decided yet. So if I do, it'll be streamed through Shoulders of Giants. Hacking Gourmet's back up and live. So it'll be streamed through those things and on my private social media. But I'll post about it tomorrow if I'm going to do it. It's all a matter of I can get it set up quick enough to do that. But I think the last time I streamed on there was the 4th of July show. So maybe maybe the show's already set up and I just have to adjust some graphics.
Yeah,
Very
it's
cool.
true. Very, very true. It's been a beat since you've broadcasted, so
Yeah.
it'll be exciting to see you kind of back to this other stuff.
Well, the fact that I'm on Ecamm right now at least lets me know that Ecamm still works.
oh, it
So I know
does.
I'll be able to log in tomorrow and have it work. Yeah, yeah,
It does work. It does work. They've made some changes. They've made a lot of changes since I think you've
yeah.
used it. So it's a little bit different, but you'll figure it out. If
Yeah.
not, you can ask me because
So yeah,
I'm
keep an
using it.
eye out. Stay peeled for that. I might do it. I'll see when I wake up. My wife's got a road race in the morning in Bangor that she's doing like a little 3K, and then we get back. We're doing lunch at my uncle's camp. So I might, when I wake up in the morning, I might, or tonight, I might spend a little bit of time and mess around with it. I had, it's funny. I had like 5 people text me and ask me if I was going to stream the show, the fireworks show. And I was like, no, no shit. Like people actually watched it. And it wasn't like people that, I mean, it's people I knew, but it wasn't people that I knew had watched it because we never talked about it. And they're like, oh yeah, we've watched it like the last 3 years. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you? And I was like, I'll give you a heads up. I was like, I guess apparently people, the people that did watch it liked it. So,
You always did a great job with it. You know,
mm,
and
yeah,
we would do our Super Bowl show, which was cool.
yeah, we'll have to probably do that again.
Yeah, we'll
The
have to get
challenge
that
with the
going.
Super Bowl show for me, we only really did that one year, and we did the halftime show and the after game, and it was great. That was in 2020, 21 that we did that.
Yeah,
And that was a huge weekend because we did the lead up show to it, and
yeah,
then I was on the road to Tampa, and then I did the show in Tampa where you guys were part of in Coop. So we did a live streaming show out of Corona, which was incredible. We had like 4,000 people that watched that. It was out of control. And then we did the next day we did the pregame show at halftime, and it actually worked out really well. But the challenge with the Super Bowl thing is that generally we're all either at a Super Bowl party or watching the game, and to like run around and get set up right at halftime, even though the halftime show is going on. I mean, there's quite a bit of effort to like pull yourself away from what you're doing. So I think that was the challenge the last couple times. But yeah, maybe we'll bring it back. You never know.
yeah. You know,
Exciting things to come.
there's endless possibilities
Yeah,
now. It's
it
endless
is.
possibilities.
The world is our oyster. The world is our oyster. So yeah, that's all I got for now. I know you guys are wrapping up. It's almost 10. I'm gonna go have one more glass of wine and jump in the pool and go
Same.
downstairs. So that's all I got for now, and that's pretty much all I've got anyway. So like I said, I don't really have any. I have no animosity. Nothing real negative to say. Um, and you know, it was everything was a positive situation for me on the way out, and what they do from here is up to them. And I've moved on, and I'm focusing on me. And it's going to be fun to be. I said it's going to be fun to be a cigar consumer for a little bit of time. I would be lying if I didn't say that I will probably be back in some capacity in some point in time. Um, it would be completely insane to not involve 14 years of my career, my longest career, in some of my ventures. That would literally just be insane. So if people are wondering if I'm going to be back in the cigars, um, most likely I will. It will look significantly different than what it looked like for the last 14 years, um, from what I'm brainstorming on. But yeah, I mean, and, it'd be unfortunate not to take advantage of something that I worked really hard in for the last 14 years. But in the meantime, there will be some other fun things that I'm doing. Um, so the Shoulders of Giants thing is just getting going. That's going to be a really unique thing. I'm going to start doing some discovery meetings with people here in the next few weeks to see how I can support them in building their businesses. And then the next thing I'm going to be doing, which is kind of fun, is I have a catering license through my father-in-law in Florida, and I'm going to be doing some like on-site catering and food sales at some venues around in and around Orlando and Winter Park. So I'm working on that, and I'm bringing back a old family concept that came from my father that he had for about 34 years. It was called the Snack Shack. It was a roadside stand We did ice cream, burgers, fries. We have a famous family onion ring recipe. So what my next thing that I'm going to work on next week is upscaling that concept, simplifying it for a small venue where there's just a few menu items, and bringing back the Snack Shack. So that's kind of a fun thing.
Oh,
And then, yep. And we did a Snack Shack episode on Hacking Gourmet. If anybody ever watched that one, it was part of the food truck episode that we did. And that was pretty cool where I cooked burgers, fries, and onion rings. I did like our set items from the Snack Shack. So I'm kind of bringing that back. That'll be like a once, that'll be like a 3 or 4 times a month type of a thing, for fun and to, my father-in-law to spend some time together and make a little bit of money on it and really do some high-end stuff. But I'll talk a little bit more about that, and I will make it public. And then in August, Hacking Gourmet's coming back,
Very
and
exciting.
there's going to be a new cast. There's going to be a new cast of characters. Production level is going to be really elevated. The shows are not going to be recorded live, so they'll premiere, which will allow us to up the production value, and then provide a little bit more content from it. So that'll be fun, but that's coming up too. So there's a lot of exciting things coming on, and like I said, the future's bright, and I got a lot of fun ideas, and it's going to be great to monetize things that I'm really passionate about.
Yeah, I've heard some about what you got going on, obviously, and it's exciting, and I'm very excited about what you're up to, and can't wait to see you share it with the world and execute it, and it's gonna be big because it's you. I know how you do things, so it's gonna be cool, and new chapter, so a lot to come, and it's gonna be wild. It's gonna be a wild ride. So congrats on the ending of one era and the beginning of the next. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun for sure. Can't wait. I'm excited for
Absolutely.
you, man.
No,
I'm excited for you.
Thank you. Thank you. No, I appreciate everything, and it's fun to come on tonight. So when I jumped on and saw 4th of July, I'm like, I gotta go on. I gotta get in there. Let me in. Let me in. Let Daddy in.
I didn't want to twist your arm about it. You told me next week. I said, all right,
I
but then
know.
you're like, I'm coming in. I'm like, huh,
I know.
all right, here we go. Let's do it.
Come
I'm
on. It was the
freaking
right.
so
It was the
happy
right
you
thing
came
to
on.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
But anyway, it's nice to have you here. It was thank you for coming on, Kevin. Obviously, it's great to see you. Tomorrow's the 4th of July. It's also Nicole's birthday, by the way. Heads up to everyone. Nicole's birthday is tomorrow. She's the 4th of July baby. So there's that. Don't forget.
I do have one more story about that. So
Oh,
on Shoulders of Giants this week, we're featuring like American legends. So like today we did Joshua Chamberlain, because Joshua Chamberlain was from Maine, which was kind of cool. So we featured Joshua Chamberlain. But tomorrow we've done Amelia Earhart, Jackie Robinson was the first. We're going to do it all through the weekend. It's going to end on Sunday. But tomorrow we have John Adams, which is kind of cool because this was my sister's idea. And so you're talking about Nicole's birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday, Nicole. But John Adams, okay, not only was a founding father, but John Adams, when they voted for independence, it was on July 2nd, okay? And we celebrate Independence Day on July 4th, right? Because that's when it was like identified and recognized.
right.
But John Adams was a big proponent of saying, no, we should celebrate Independence Day on July 2nd, the day that we voted for the independence. That's the true Independence Day. Now, coincidentally, when John Adams died, he died on the 4th of July.
Huh.
So it was kind of the people that were like, this should have been, it was like, that was like karma for him, being proven that it should have been on the 4th. So we're going to feature John Adams tomorrow. We're going to talk a little bit about that story, and that'll be kind of cool. It's just a little snippet, but that'll be on social media. So John Adams tomorrow. So Nicole's birthday, and coincidentally celebrating the independence of our country, which technically was on July 2nd of 1776, and John Adams dying on the July 4th, which was the day he didn't want it to be. So very interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. I didn't know that about him. I don't know how I didn't, but
History lessons tonight on Smokin Tabacco.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But anyway,
Yes, sir.
I think that's going to be the show. That's going to be the show for this week. You guys heard the news. John's here, Great to have you on. Independence Day. It's been a long week, I think, for everyone, especially you, John, but for all of us, it's been a long week. If you want to read the story about John, head over to smokintabacco.com. You'll find it. It's on the homepage. It's all there. It was also updated to include Flor's statement that they released. So all of that is there. If you want to read it, don't forget to check out all of our news, reviews, and other content that we have going on the show. I want to wish everybody a very happy 4th of July. Stay safe, but have a great time, obviously. Smoke plenty of cigars. I'll just say it. Just get drunk. Not too drunk, but it's the 4th of July. Enjoy yourself. I mean, come on. I mean, don't waste the
brother.
day. Don't waste the day, you know?
Don't drink and drive.
Just don't drink and drive, you know? You can drink and tweet. Just don't drink and drive. Anyway, those are always fun. But that's going to be our show for this week, guys. Take care. We'll see you next week. And hopefully we'll see more of John in the future. All right, guys. We'll see you. Good night.